this video is going to cover the melees, Knight, Warrior, and Paladin. But if people like this type of video, I will do every other class, at least ones that need explaining, you know. I'll start off with Knight. And why not start with... Oh, here you can see actually the DPS provided by a standard full top set. Of course you would always use HP rings over defense rings, because Knight has a high base defense of 40 and heavy armor and then shield defense on top of it, so you're going to have 76 defense with this setup and 950 HP without Paladin buff. So that's extremely tanky. It's more HP and defense than you should really need. And yeah, just having the 180 less HP for 9 defense is in no way worth it. Most things will hit defense cap on you anyway. Yeah. Yeah, I guess I'll talk about the swords. So, basically on Knight, you shouldn't ever really be using Crystal Sword. Oh, and I have the DPS graphs combined and MP heal at 90. I guess I'll put this down to 70 because most people will have rare pets and not legendaries. But yeah, this does account for DPS of stun as well. From the Colossus shield, as we currently have it set up. So I'm just gonna go through the list. So you got a claim, which is, you know, your standard sword. It's the top sword. And you got Crystal Sword. You see it deals significantly less DPS. I'll hide the ability DPS now. So this is at 1700 on 0 defense, and this is 2200. It's 500 DPS difference, which is quite a big difference. Of course, you do get the 1 extra range from the Crystal Sword from the Acclaim, but given your massive amount of tank stats and the 3.2 range stun, you shouldn't really need to use Crystal Sword. If you are going to use anything, it should be Ancient Stun, but I'll get into that in a little bit. Sorry, car just went by outside. Thought I was about to get murdered. But the next on the list is the Demon Blade, which, as you can see, deals more damage than Acclaim by 600 per shot, or 600 per second, but of course it is 2 shots, and you have to be very close range to hit them. Most scenarios where you would want to use a Demon Blade are Godlands, DPSing a boss like Stheno, a boss like the Snake Pit, the epic Snake Pit boss. It's not very useful in Undead Layers, that's what I was trying to think of. It's quite useful when you have to shoot more than one enemy, because you do have 2 bullets, so it's quite useful to clear abysses, it's quite useful to clear uddles, or just shoot while you rush through them. It's also very useful when rushing tombs, because if you get scarabs attacking you, like you get paralyzed by scarabs and then there's, you know, whatever, a fuckload of scarabs coming at you. When you have more shots, you're gonna kill them faster and you will unparalyze faster. Although that doesn't necessarily apply to Knight, because you do have the stun, which will instantly clear all scarabs that you shoot it at. It is something to think about in the other melees. So yeah, basically, Demon Blade is an extremely useful sword to be used on targets that you can stun, or targets that just don't deal any damage, or when there are lots of small mobs, which I guess does fall under targets that deal no damage. It's quite useful in O1, quite useful in Godlands, actually. I do prefer it over Acclaim. Ancient Stone Sword. This is basically not useful at all on Knight. Say 1900 DPS, that is a little bit higher than the crystal sword, but again, it does more damage per shot, so you can see as the defense goes up, the damage changes very little, but this just really isn't useful, and you're better off just using Acclaim, honestly. I mean, I'll copy this to the graph and then switch to Acclaim. We'll make this purple. Copy that to the graph. You see, it's not really much of a difference, and then when you combine the DPS graphs, does that make it even less of a difference? It's about 110 that they become even, or after 110. No. Well, actually, yeah, a little bit. But most of the knights, or a lot of the knight's damage will be coming from stuns. You don't need the ancient stone, because you don't really need the extra range when you're so tanky, because if you can stun it, I mean, it's just not useful in very many situations. The extra range and the damage to high defense monsters isn't really too good. I mean, yes, you deal extra damage to ancient, or to stone guardians, I guess, but look at the conquerors. Not many things in the defense in the game have this much defense. Most of it is, around the 50 or 35 and below range, and then you get tomb bosses which are 80 to 100. I'm not actually sure the defense of the Shatters bosses, but DPS doesn't really matter on them anyway. So it's just not useful in many situations. The one place where I do think it is quite useful, though, is doing abysses, because if you are using an attack ring, you will one-shot every single abyss mob with just one bullet. So it can be, I honestly do prefer it over the other options, because you just one-shot every mob instantly. Although, however, Demon Blade, Acclaim, Pixie Sword, everything else is also quite good for it, so it really does just come down to preference, although I don't think that you should be using the Ancient Stone Sword outside of Shatters just to have an extra, or a long-range sword so that you don't trigger the mobs when you have to clear a certain switch. It's also quite nice as a safer option for the Shatters, but I don't think that that's very necessary. If you're new to Shatters, then yeah, it'll be useful, but I don't find it useful myself, other than in Abysses, as I've previously said. And then on to Pirate King's Cutlass, which it's useless. 2200 damage. You have to even 2159 from Acclaim. 2171. Why? Why would you ever want to use this sword? You deal 12 more DPS. I'll just copy this to the graph and get the purple Acclaim out again. You deal 20 more DPS to targets with 0 def, and then the Acclaim always deals more damage. It's not useful. Don't ever use this item. Pirate King's Cutlass should never be used. Yeah, and it has it's less range, more fire rate, low damage, so it deals less damage to higher defense targets, and its base damage is just barely above an Acclaim's, 12 DPS. Not useful at all. Die with it for the 4% fame bonus, that's probably your best bet. Now, last sword, Pixie Enchanted Sword. As you can see, 2900 damage. Does deal more damage than the Demon Blade to 0 def targets. And then it goes drastically down from there, because this is a 4.5 range sword. It does give one attack on set But it has 4 shots, 4.5 range, and the shots deal a decent amount of damage. This is very, very useful in clearing Godlands. It can be used quite well to clear abysses, puddles, snake pits, low-level stuff where the mobs don't have much HP. There's a lot of mobs, so Godlands, abysses, what I've just mentioned. Epic Snake Pit is very good and has no place in shatters. It's actually pretty good at clearing tombs / doing sarks. Actual usefulness on the tomb bosses is very minimal, as you can see. Once you get up past 20 defense, it starts to have pretty diminishing returns, but it is going to be very, 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 very good for clearing Godlands because you do have that 4.5 range and the extra shots, so it's really everything you would want in a Godlanding sword, and I would recommend everyone that wants to avidly run abysses, UDLs, whatever, to have a Pixie Enchanted Sword on their melees, because they're tradable, they're not demon blades. You die with it, it's not that big of a deal, because yes, it is expensive, but you can go 200 abysses dry without a D-blade, and you can just buy a Pixie Sword in those 200 abysses, so really I think it's a better option than the D-blade in most scenarios, because again, when you're trying to maximize DPS at short range, that's what the Pixie Enchanted Sword is good for. And then you even have the extra bonus of being able to have that 4.5 range for stuff like Godlands. It's really a nice sword. I would recommend everyone to have it. And then, like to shields, there's not really anything to talk about here. Of course, there's the snakeskin shield, which is, pretty garbage. Gives you 3 speed for -5 defense, and a lot of shield damage. 330 per average, and then 275. Then Ogmer, which does give you a nice +2 defense over Colossus and 60 maximum HP, and it armor breaks targets. So, and it has 1 extra shot, I believe, over Colossus. No, it has the same amount of shots as Colossus. I was incorrect. So it deals a little bit less damage, but depending on when it technically applies armor break, it might deal more damage than the Colossus shield. As you can see, that's 350 average, and again, this one's 330. Man, I'm messing everything up in this video. So it does deal more damage per shot than the Colossus. It also armor breaks, and same MP cost, 6% fame bonus, +2 death, 60 HP. Really useful to speed up clears of avatars, speed up tomb bosses, speed up shatters bosses. A cat just knocked over a shitload of stuff. April, what are you doing? Speed up tombs, shatters, avatars. It just speeds things up. It's not really too useful other than the speed factor, but, it does have nice base stats, although it's extremely rare, and I wouldn't recommend using it in any dangerous situations, because losing it's probably not good. And then on to armors. You can see the Acropolis armor is 24 defense, 4% fame bonus. And then you have the Candy Coated, which is 30 defense, -10 dexterity. This really has no place on Knight because you have so much defense already. 40 base, you don't need an extra 10 defense, and you also don't need to harm your DPS anymore because you are only a 50-50 stat class. You don't really want that -10 dexterity. Shooting with 40 dex isn't fun, you shoot slow as hell. So just don't use it, ever, on Knight. Then we have Resurrected Warrior's armor. 17 defense, 150 maximum MP, and 5 wisdom. So basically you are losing 7 defense for 150 max MP, and we have 5 wisdom, but with Pet's wisdom, not really too useful, so I'm just going to, for the sake of everything, just consider this 17 defense, 150 max MP, which is pretty good. Even with Pet's well, pets actually make maximum MP stronger than it was before, because say you have, with my current pet, which is a max legendary magic heal, so 90 magic heal. If I had resurrected warriors armor on and I have 402 mana instead of 252, yeah, 402 mana instead of 252. That means that like, because I only, okay, I'm going to start over and explaining this. So what happens when I stun is I technically only lose about, 50 mana, I would say, around there. This is just an estimate, of course. I haven't actually paid much attention to this, but it costs about 50 mana for me to stun because of the mana I regen from my wisdom and my pet in the time that I stun, or in the time between my stuns. I lose about 50 mana because of all of the regeneration I'm getting. So if I have 400 mana and I lose 50 mana, that means I would be able to stun 8 times for 3 seconds, which would be 24 seconds, as opposed to 5 times for 15 seconds. You can see that is a 9-second increase, assuming that I'm losing 50 MP per stun. So if you work out how much MP you're losing per stun, you can gauge how effective this armor will be once it boosts your max MP. Again, 50 is just an eyeball estimate of how much I am losing per stun, and it should not be taken too seriously. And because you are knight, you can lose the 7 defense, and you would still be sitting at 69 only with an HP ring. So if you get the, say, Expo as your ring, the experimental ring, then you would have not 402 mana, but 462, and that would again increase the duration that you could keep something stunned for before you run out of mana, which is very, very useful and a key component of playing Knight in dungeons that aren't Shatters. So, very, very useful armor. It can honestly just be used as a main armor on Knight in everything but Shatters, and, just anywhere where things are stun immune, you would not want to use the Resurrected Warrior's armor, because then most of your MP is basically dead stats. I mean, yes, you do get to stun things more times for more damage, but it gives you 1 stun if you're not using it for actual stuns. So, yeah. Overall, absolutely amazing armor when you get to stun things, because it increases the duration you can keep them stunned, and you don't need the defense. But if you can't stun the things in the dungeon, you definitely would want to keep this armor in default. And then we have the Fire Dragon Battle Armor, and I don't know why they made this fucking armor's name so long, considering everything else is, not nearly as long, or, yeah, whatever. Anyway, 3 attack, 15 defense, 3 speed, 3 vitality. That's pretty shit, honestly. You lose 9 defense for 3 attacks, 3 speed, 3 vit. I mean, vit is completely useless as a stat, given your pet is anything above, level 50. Just pretty pointless, honestly. Especially 3 vit, does nothing. So, 9 defense for 3 attack, 3 speed. You don't even get 9 stats out of it. I mean, you do get 9 stats if you include vitality as a stat, but no. On Knight, I mean, the speed's nice. Yes, you don't really need the defense, but 3 speed, 3 attack, it's just not worth 9 defense. It's just not. And you got Fairy Plate, which is 40 max HP, 40 max MP, 20 defense. This plate this armor is just in every way better than Acropolis armor. You lose 4 defense, for 40 HP, 40 MP, and when you have 40 base defense and a shield on, you really don't need that extra 4 defense. The 40 HP is going to be much more effective HP, and the maximum 8 MP is just going to be a nice little bonus on top of that as well. So, it is better in every situation than Acropolis, of course better than Fire Battle Dragon Armor, better than Candy Coated as well, because this armor and this armor should just never be equipped, ever, because they don't do anything, they are not good in any scenario, but it's like a nice hybrid between the Resurrected Warriors armor and the Acropolis armor, because it actually does make you extra tanky and it gives you MP. So I mean, it's kind of a hybrid, but kind of not. Excuse me again, because again, it is just a straight upgrade from Acropolis, because it gives you more effective HP and MP. So yeah, if you can, I would recommend getting your hands on a Fairy Plate and a Resurrected Warriors armor for your knight, because those are the two armors that you would want to be using ideally in every situation. Of course, using an Acclaim or not Acclaim, Acropolis or Abyssal armor will work just fine, but these two are better options. And never use Candy Coated or Fire Dragon Battle armor. And Fire Dragon Battle armor is pretty fun to say. Now on to rings, which should be, there's a fucking lot to talk about here. Okay, so, I guess I'll go over the standard ability rings to start off with. Attack, defense, speed, vitality, wisdom, dexterity, HP, and MP. I suppose you could use the Unbound Magic ring somewhere like a tomb, if you have a decent enough group and a decent enough magic heal pet to a point where it will essentially let you perma-stun because of the amount of extra mana you will be gaining from the ring. Other than that, there is no reason to ever equip a ring that is not the Unbound HP if you are looking strictly at tradable rings. Then, I guess we'll talk about Shatter's rings next, because that's the order they're in. Here, Forgotten Crown is 110 maximum HP, 6 attack, 6 dexterity, and just for future reference, I will be comparing things to the Unbound HP to start off with, because that is, again, the tiered ring that you should be using. So, losing 70 HP, gaining 6 attacks, 6 stacks. Now, well, it's really worth the stats, honestly. The 70 HP for 6 attacks, 6 stacks, it's like worth the stats as a trade-off. Yeah, but it's 6 attack and 6 stacks. You're trading survivability stats for damage stats. So, it doesn't really have its place on Knight. I mean, if you just want to put it on Knight, it won't be bad, but I think it's safe to say that the Unbound HP is better. Because, again, Knight's a tank, you don't need to deal damage with your sword when your shield is so hard-hitting. It's just not useful, really. I mean, like, you can use it in, like, abysses and stuff, where you want to deal extra damage to the mobs. Like, yeah. You can use it, you won't really lose too much for using it, but at the same time it's a very valuable drop, and you should probably put it on a class where it fits best. And Knight, it doesn't fit best on. The Twilight Gemstone, so this gives 6 speed, 6 defense, and 100 maximum MP. And I'm probably going to get a lot of hate for saying this, but I'm going to get a lot of hate for making this video at all, so I'm going to go ahead and say that this ring is absolutely shit on Knight. It is completely fucking terrible. Do not equip it. Just don't. It's not useful. It does nothing. 110 maximum MP. Okay, cool. 6 speed. Awesome. Some speed is great. Knight needs more speed. Yeah. Okay, but why do you need 6 def? You don't. You have 36, you have 76 defense. And then you add another 6, you got 82 defense. What do you do with 82 defense? I don't know. Nothing. You run around real fast, but you do nothing. You're also trading 180 flat HP for 6 defense, which is going to give you very, very, very little tankiness, and it puts you at 770 max HP instead of 850, 950, sorry. It's not useful. Some people do like to use the Twilight Gemstone in combination with the Resurrected Warrior's armor to give them 260 added mana on top of your 252, giving you 512 mana total in your pool, but you are losing... No, you are losing... Okay. Sorry. I will better explain myself. So, because the defense from this balances out the defense you lose from this, basically. You only lose 1 defense, but then you're still sitting at 770 max HP with high defense. So you're very vulnerable to armor break and shotguns, which makes you not as tanky as you would think because of your base HP. And while you do have 512 mana, you don't do anything other than stun. You don't really, you're a pretty bad tank. And it's just not worth it. You lose too much effective HP by using Gemstone. Yeah. Now, Bracer of the Guardian. This ring is actually, pretty good. I don't know. It's hard to judge the strength of this ring because of... No, I think it's pretty good on Knight. See, 6 defense, 6 attack, 60 HP, 60 MP, which you're trading 120 base HP for 60 MP, 6 attack, and 6 defense. So again, that is a very good trade-off between the, actual stats. You're getting a lot more stats from this than you are from the HP ring, but when you look at it, it's 6 defense, 6 attack. You don't need that defense. The HP you're provided by the Unbound HP is much stronger than that defense. The attack, again, you're a knight. You don't need to deal damage with your sword. Dealing sword damage is pretty much pointless. It's just not what your class is for. If you want to deal damage with your sword, you pick warrior. So, and then you get the 60 MP, which is very good on knight, actually. It's quite decent. But 120 maximum HP for 12 stat boosts that you don't need and 60 MP? I don't know. I mean, you can definitely use it. It'll definitely be pretty good. If you really value the... If you like the attack and you like the defense, it's basically a preference ring. Personally, I would prefer not to use the Bracer over the Unbound HP. And it's the same thing with the crown. You can use the crown. It's preference, but I would put it on something better than knight, because it doesn't really suit knight as well. Because you're losing tank stats and getting damage stats. And 60 MP, yeah, it's good. It's not going to make a difference in anything really, though. Ring of the Sphinx, 4 Wisdom, 4 Dex, 100 maximum MP. This ring is shit. It's just shit. 4 Wiz is basically useless in every scenario. 4 Dex is basically useless. 100 maximum MP, yeah, good. But this ring gives 140 maximum MP, and if we acknowledge that 4 Wisdom does fucking nothing, and 4 Dex basically does nothing too, considering that you're knight, I don't know, this is better. This is better. Why use it? Again, it puts your HP at base HP. Why? You don't need it. It's bad. You're just gonna die. Don't use it, please. I just thought of another thing gemstone, by the way, as well. So, gemstone and fairy plate, I've seen this a lot too. Again, you are stacking maximum MP to give you a... fuck, math. 402, max MP, as per... it's the same as just wearing a Resurrected Warrior's armor, but then you do get the nice 40 HP and extra 20 defense, or well, extra defense, as opposed to the Resurrected Warrior's armor. So, again, this is another setup I see a lot of people using, and I still don't think it's as good as just the straight up top set, because it's too much like gemstone. It gives defense, speed, and maximum MP. You want HP on Knight, you don't want defense. So even though, yeah, you're gonna be sitting at 2690? Wait, it's not 90. 26, 38, 78 defense. What the fuck? How did I get 90? Sorry, 78 defense. It's pretty good, you know, but you're gonna be at 810 maximum HP instead of 950. No. And I mean, if you're using fairy plate with the unbound HP, then you have 220, 990 HP, and you lose 110 MP. It's just not worth it. Don't use gemstone, please. Sorry, I had to go back to that out of order, but I forgot to mention it. So, oh, man, this is gonna be so sloppy, but I'll go back to the crown as well. So, if you see, yeah, we're hiding ability DPS. Okay, so if you look at this, there's 2200 damage per second. And now if we equip this, we're at 1838. Oh, fuck. My bad. 2160 damage per second, so like, you can do something cheeky, and you can put candy coated and crown together, and they basically nullify each other out and give you an added like +2 defense, or whatever. It's so you get 82 defense and 110 extra max HP, and this basically nullifies the candy coated, you see. It gives you a little bit more DPS actually. Here, wait, is it a little bit more? 2192 to... and my mouse is not tracking. Yeah, it gives you a little bit more DPS than just wearing the top gear. So, I mean, you can do that. Like, again, it's better than using the like normal top set, but at the same time, the crown is such a valuable and hard to get item that I would not personally do it, because this is getting very little usefulness out of the sets that the crown provides, and you're basically just nullifying wearing it, and you might as well just not wear it at all and switch back to the old set. Yeah. Is there any inconsistencies that I didn't cover up as well? Oh. That was a misclick. Okay. No. Nope, I think we're good. Now on to the Ring of Denial. Sorry for my chair squeaking. Okay. So, Ring of Denial. 4 speed, 4 dex, 60 maximum HP, 60 maximum MP. It's really good actually. 4 speed, pretty good. 4 dexterity, not too good, but it's like, yeah. I mean, you know, doesn't really do much. But 4 speed is quite nice actually. It does put you at almost paladin level speed, of course you're only 1 speed lower. And 60 maximum HP, 60 maximum MP, it's quite nice because you do get the maximum MP that the knight does desire, and the maximum HP to increase your tankiness as well. I would actually wear this ring in every situation over unbound HP, because I feel like I do not actually need that extra 120 maximum HP. The 4 speed is quite useful, although it is more of a luxury stat than a necessity. The 60 maximum HP does give you that nice little tankiness added on that you do, so that you don't die to like shotguns, and then you get the max HP or maximum MP, which is quite nice. I think this is one of the best rings on Knight, and I personally prefer to use it most of the time. It's especially nice in conjunction with the fairy plate, because you will have the 72 defense and 870 max HP, which is quite good. And then you will have 352 maximum MP, so it gives you a nice, like, they complement each other really well, because you're getting maximum HP and maximum MP from the fairy plate, and maximum HP and maximum MP from the Ring of the Nile as well. So it's a very nice combination. I like it a lot. Now on to Ring of the Pyramid. Plus 4 attack, 4 defense, 100 maximum HP. This is it's quite a good ring. You're losing 80 HP for 4 attack, 4 defense. So, not entirely worth it, I don't think. Because the attack's not very, good on Knight. The 4 defense is pretty good, but this is more of a, in my opinion, niche ring. I mean, like, of course you can put a pyramid on any class, and it's going to be very, very, very good, but it also may be suboptimal, and I will say that the Ring of the Pyramid is definitely suboptimal. That being said, I think the Nile is the optimal ring on Knight for most of the camp time, or the unbound HP. Really comes down to preference, I believe. Difference between Nile, Bracer, and unbound HP, of course. Yes. And Expo. Because, yeah, but we'll get to Expo later. So, yeah, 100 maximum HP is real nice, of course. Gives you tankiness so that you don't die to shotguns, and it gives you 4 extra defense, which does put your 76 defense at a nice 80, so you do get to see pretty numbers ending in 0 when you are hit, or, ending in 5s generally. I don't even know. Are there bullets that deal like 5 damage? I don't know. Whatever. You get to see pretty numbers above your head. 4 attack is actually very useful when clearing the abyss with the ancient stone sword, as I previously mentioned in this video, because it does give you that extra little boost of damage you need to ensure 100% that you will kill every single mob at 1 bullet. So I think it is very good for doing abysses, for doing godlands, stuff where that extra defense is actually useful, because again, you're not going to hit the defense cap on ghost gods, you're not going to hit it on Medusas, you hit it on Ents, but you hit it on Ents beforehand anyway. Wait, retract the last thing I said, that was just plain stupid. But yeah, so you get actual usefulness out of the defense, and the attack does improve, blah blah blah. It's pretty good at godlands. Overall, it's an amazing ring, but I feel that it is suboptimal compared to the Nile, which gives you, maximum MP, which the Knight wants, maximum HP, which the Knight wants, and speed, which the Knight wants. Speed is definitely a much more valuable stat on Knight than attack. So yeah. Then we have the Coral Ring. 5 whiz, 5 speed, 75 max MP. Just don't use this ring. It's complete shit. And, I mean, obviously you don't want to use the Amulet of Resurrection. Well, you do want to use the Amulet of Resurrection, you just don't want to use the cursed one. Yeah. Crystal Bone Ring, again, complete shit. Divine Faith, complete shit. Not actually in the game. Captain's Ring, complete shit. Complete shit. Experimental Ring, overall. You can't go wrong in equipping an Expo. Just like you can't go wrong in equipping a Pyrrha, a Nile, or its flat HP ring. I mean, if you compare 60 HP, 60 MP, 4 def, it's like a Nile, except you get def and vit instead of speed and dex. So overall, I do think it is worse than the Nile, although you can use it, the Expo ring with in conjunction with the Fairy Plate, which will then make up for the lost defense from the Fairy Plate opposed to Acclaim, giving you a nice 76 defense again, and adding to your maximum HP and MP just like with the Nile, so it is quite a nice combination, although I would still rate the Ring of the Nile as a better version of the experimental ring, just due to the fact that when Knight already has 75 vit, pets, etc., vit is not a useful stat. Defense, when you already have over 70, it's also not too useful. Speed is a very nice stat on Knight. Yeah, it basically comes to preference whether you want 4 speed, 4 dex, or 4 vit, 4 defense. And while I say that the 4 dex is not very useful on the Sphinx and the Nile, it's definitely better than 4 vit. Candy Ring gives you negative MP, so you don't ever really want to use it unless you're like rushing a wine cellar. In which case, you equip your fucking Candy Ring, you equip your goddamn Snake Shield, and you get to that fucking O2, and then you stun him once, realize you still have Candy Ring and Snake Shield equipped, shit your pants, and then realize you still got Soulbound. Yeah. So, yeah, use for rushing. Geb's Ring of Wisdom. Shit. First time I've ever read the stats on this ring actually, and it's shit. Yeah, so basically the rings you would want to use on Knight are, it's basically a tie between Unbound HP, Expo, and Ring of the Nile based on your preferences, and Bracer, of course, based on your preferences. Personally, I will wear Nile in almost every situation, and then Expo, then Bracer. Well, I'm never going to use Bracer at Night, honestly, because I just don't feel like it's very good, because of how rare the Bracer is. And then Unbound HP. You can't go wrong with Pyramid, and it's very useful in Abysses. Crown is... it just shouldn't be used on Night. You don't want Sword DPS, Gemstone. Just do me a favor, don't equip it. Don't equip a Sphinx either. Yeah. Apologize, this video was a bit more scatterbrained than I was hoping to make it, but overall I think the best, dude, the cars keep going by my house and it's 3 AM, huh, I think the best, best loadout for Knight is, the Acclaim with, Pixie Sword, and a Ancient Stone Sword. Ancient Stone Sword only to be used, of course, on, Shatters bosses. The stuff I listed earlier, really. Shatters bosses, blah blah blah, whatever you actually need. Not Shatters bosses, fuck. Switches and Shatters. So basically just Acclaim and Pixie Sword, or if you're doing... okay. Just forget what I just said. Knight, you should be using either of the rings that I just listed: Nile, Expo, HP, Unbound HP, or Bracer. Fairy Plate is almost always the correct option, unless, well, you can't go wrong by equipping Fairy Plate. It's strictly better than Acropolis, but you can have the Resurrected Warrior's Armor or the Fairy Plate. My ideal setup would be this: a sort of Acclaim, Colossus, Fairy Plate, and Ring of the Nile. Or if I'm not doing, say, a tomb or something where I want single target DPS, like often if I'm playing in Godlands, doing Abysses, UDLs, etc., I will equip only a Fairy Sword and use this same setup. I think that's the way to go. And then, yeah. Okay, I think that was way longer than I expected it to be. Let's see. 45 minutes. I just talked about... fuck, man. hope you guys enjoyed. This is my take on the night loadout. I said I was going to do the other melees, but this was a 45-minute long video. So, yeah. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you learned something. Just another final recap. Pixie Sword is always good. Acclaim is always good. D-Blade is a worse Pixie Sword. Colossus Shield, of course. I mean, Ogmar if you need it. Fairy Plate is a better Acropolis, and then Resurrected Warrior's Armor is good in a lot of situations as well. Situations where you can perma-stun things. And the rings you want to use on Knight are Nile, Expo, Bracer, or Unbound HP. My personal preference will always be toward the Nile because I like the extra speed and I like the maximum HP, maximum MP, and I don't really like just getting one flat stat from a ring like the Unbound HP gives you. I don't think Bracer is good enough to be used, or fits Knight well enough to be used on. And Expo is just, you know, everyone's got Expos. It's a good ring. If you don't have Nile, use an Expo. You don't have an Unbound HP, use an Expo. Got nothing else, use an Expo. It's awesome. Pyramid. Can't go wrong ever with equipping a Pyramid, so yeah. There you go, guys. Hope you learned. Also, if you, watch this entire fucking thing, or you just skip to the end, I don't know. Good job. You're awesome. I like you. Keep watching my videos.